anti-Semitism going back centuries is based on that the Jews are, they control everything in the world. And because they're so small, they must have demonic power. It must be a kind of supernatural power they have, because there are so few of them. At the same time, people believe there are millions and millions of them. I mean, you ask people, how many Jews do you think there are in Britain? Well, several million. Out of a population, whatever it is, 68 million or something like that, the number of identifying Jews is 280,000. It's like statistically insignificant. And yet, Jews have a lot of influence, it's true, in the culture, and that's, I think, to do with the way Jews have been, the sort of cultural training of the mind and personality makes Jews very much people who are out there doing stuff in society. So it propels them into public life. But to put that to one side, their numbers are extremely small. And yet they are invested with this, as I say, supernatural type power, and it's a very fixed belief that they control everything, and all kinds of people. I mean, I shouldn't be shocked or surprised by anti-Semitism, but I always am, because it comes out from people who are, you assume that people are intelligent. Well, they are intelligent, and therefore you assume that they would not come out with what they come out with, which is this barking mad, deranged, paranoid belief that the Jews control everything. And you hear, you see people sort of nodding along, and they must be completely mad, because the Jews are the most persecuted people on earth. If the Jews were the most powerful people on earth, then they made a pretty poor fist of it. The old joke, two men sitting on a park bench, each reading. One guy is reading a newspaper, and he is chuckling to himself, reading the newspaper, and the other guy, two Jews, and the other Jew says, "What are you reading? Why are you laughing? You're reading such terrible things. You're reading about, anti-Semitism. You're reading about the attacks on Jews across the world, and you're laughing?" And the Jew who's reading the paper says, "I'm reading that we control the world."
It's laughable to think that Jewish people exercise control in the way that is suggested. It's absolutely risible. It bears no relationship to truth at all.
Well, anti-Semitism is a weird thing. We can all find...
maybe perhaps supernatural in some ways.
Yeah,
it's almost beyond our understanding.
Well, exactly. I mean, we can all find, all kinds of very plausible and entirely, I think, justifiable explanations for why it happens in a particular way at a particular time for particular sorts of people. Those reasons are perfectly valid. Ultimately, it's a mystery. Ultimately, it's a mystery. It's the longest hatred. It has existed ever since the Jewish people began to be a Jewish people. And it continues without end. The most we can ever expect is that it's put back under its stone, so that it's kept to a minimum and, restricted to what are considered to be unacceptable fringes of society. That's how it was when I was growing up in Britain. And now it's out from under its stone and roaring around, out of control, an absolute tsunami of it, rolling across the West, and having infected countless numbers of people who are totally mainstream. They are upstanding citizens. They are professionals. They're intellectuals in universities, in politics, in the law, in medicine. A lot in medicine, for some reason, and the health systems, the official class. I mean, across great swathes of the culture, the artistic culture, and I'm afraid to say the Anglican Church. And so this is the terrible thing that's happened. I mean, I've said somewhere, I don't think it's in the book, but I've said it is in the book, but I've certainly written it. It's as if we're living through the posthumous victory of both Stalin and Hitler, in that the propaganda with which they wish to control the world and demonize people has worked, and it's jumped out of what was the Soviet Union and what was Nazi Germany, and is now across vast swathes of the countries that fought Nazi Germany, that defeated Nazi Germany and fought the Soviet Union. This is what's so terrifying.